It's April 24th, 2020. I'm Zank from Bennett Data Science with today's update on the COVID-19 recovery graphs, where you'll see how states and countries are recovering from COVID-19. Here are the headlines for today. Across the world, many countries hit hard by COVID-19 that once showed good progress towards flattening the curve have seen their curves steepen or level out over the past few days. These are indicators that globally, we still have a ways to go to flatten the curve on COVID-19. We'll come back to the global data in just a moment. In the United States, as we wrap up the week, we're seeing death rates increase across almost every state. Only 2 states in the top 20 are showing a tendency towards flattening. These are New York and Texas. And New York isn't flattening as quickly as it was earlier in the week. You can see this by this orange curve not quite diving as quickly as it was previously in the week. This orange curve going down to 0 represents no new deaths per day. Right now, the number of new deaths per day in New York is right just above 450. When this death rate goes down to 0, we have flattening of the curve. And we want this to happen as quickly as possible. So let's look at the trend across all the major states hit hard by COVID-19 recently. New York is showing a dropping, but not as quickly as we'd like to see. New Jersey started to drop in the number of day-over-day deaths, but then that number has been increasing for the past 2 days. Michigan also shows an increase. Massachusetts hasn't reached a peak yet and is still increasing, although more slowly than it was earlier in the week. Pennsylvania has shown no break yet in the day-over-day deaths, so there's no flattening happening here. Same with Illinois, same with Connecticut. Louisiana, that showed a peak and then a good drop, and I say good because I like the way this is driving down towards 0 quickly, has shown that trend is broken now. They had 50, then 52, then 55 deaths per day. California showed the deadliest day so far, and even in the presence of this curve going straight up, locals have been seen protesting for the ability to surf and walk on boardwalks. So there's a big movement in the country to spend more time outdoors and to get outside. If we look at what's going on in Colorado, they had a peak of 23 new deaths per day, and then it dropped down to 19, and we're hoping to see this drop down to 0, and now it's all the way up to 33. Let's see, there is a movement now in Colorado to go from what they call stay at home to safe at home. It's effectively empowering individuals to make their own decisions about how to go out. Although I hear in Denver, it's a bit more strict. So let's go over to the global map for a moment and look and see what's going on with all the major countries here. So the United States, again, we're seeing that day-over-day deaths are going up. In Italy, they were dropping, and then it started to drop more slowly, which is a bad sign, and then they started to go down, and now it's almost flattening out here, and it's not the right flattening. Again, we want this orange curve to go to 0, which means this blue curve, it's the total number of deaths will be flattening. Spain is showing an uptick in the orange. We want to see this drop to 0. France and Belgium look very similar in how the death rate over the past couple days is starting to level out. The United Kingdom showing 690, 689, and then back up to 690. So it's remaining steady, which is not what we want to see. All the major countries, we're going to skip Iran and China for now over concerns about their data. Canada is going up. They've seen no breaks so far. Sweden showed a couple bumps here, and now they're going up as steep as ever. Switzerland, Mexico. Switzerland's leveling out. Mexico is still going up. And I want to show the implications one more time of this behavior that's happening in the United States, where we might see a peak like what we saw in France, and then a lower peak, and then it drops again, looking at this simulation. So this shows the lag between peaks, and this shows the number of more deaths we're going to see. This blue curve is the same blue curve as before, where this is the actual curve flattening part. If in the orange curve we see a bump, and maybe it's a little bit lower, what that does is it increases the death count. So if we have this 35% lag between peaks, the second peak is 85% as high as the first, which is similar to what we're seeing in France, we could see potentially 30% more deaths, because the curve will flatten. as is evidenced by this orange curve going to zero, but it's just much more slow. That's the report for today, the COVID-19 recovery graphs. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're safe and well.